Franklin County Board of County Commissioners now back in session. All right, the next thing is a bid opening, Ms. Harris.
Yep.
For Hickory Dip Road, we've only been after this for 6 years. Hallelujah.
I know, that's what I was saying when I saw it.
Okay, we are actually opening responses today for seeking civil engineering services relative to the construction, engineering, and inspection for the widening and resurfacing improvements on Hickory Dip Road and East Point from Old Ferry Dock Road to North Bay Shore Drive. The total length of the project is .372 miles. The scope of the project includes widening and resurfacing the existing lanes, drainage improvements, signage upgrade, and pavement marking. Consideration will be given only to those firms that are qualified pursuant to law and that have been pre-qualified by FDOT to perform the indicated types of work. So today we received 2 responses. The first response is going to be from Anchor CEI Incorporated from Panama City, Florida. This is actually an RFQ, so this will be released to a ranking committee, so there is no bid bond, and also no amount to discuss with you all today. So again, the first one was received from Anchor CEI Incorporated from Panama City, Florida. And the second respondent was from Southeastern Consulting Engineers Incorporated from Port St. Joe, Florida. Again, Southeastern Consulting Engineers Incorporated from Port St. Joe, Florida. And I did confirm with Mr. Mark Currington, it is acceptable to FDOT that there was only 2 responses to this RFQ. And board action to release this to the evaluation committee, which will be comprised of myself, Michael Marone, and Kimberly Raffield.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Sanders, second by Commissioner Amison. Any discussion? And that will be coming back to the next meeting?
Correct.
Okay. All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous. Is Ms. Bankston still got some stuff to discuss with us? It's on the agenda.
Yep, she just unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So the only thing I wanted to update you guys on was the code enforcement for complaints. It's just informational items. We have been working with, we have a good hybrid mix since we don't have a code enforcement officer. So it's between the sheriff's department, the health department, and then the zoning or county, which is who I will represent. We've teamed together for code enforcement, and right now we're working on properties that are considered a sanitary nuisance. We have properties at East Point, Apalachicola, St. George Island, and Leonard that are currently being taken care of. It's not a fast process, but with us teaming together, we have been able to get a lot more accomplished.
Ms. Courtney, I want to ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's come to my attention, and really for all of us as commissioners, as we start to work through this, and actually the health department's kind of really stepped up their game and my take on it, because they have started to actually declare these properties more of a sanitary nuisance. And I don't want to put too much into it than they seem to have been in the past. Let me just put it that way. The issue is going to come up for us as a board. There truly are, yes, there's definitely sanitary nuisances being observed, but so far some of these have been really cleaned up with volunteer labor. And I'm not talking about the property owners, I'm talking about other people that are either in the construction industry or clearing industry or have the tractors and the ability. But at some point, I just want to throw this out there as a board, we have to find a way to kind of help fund some of that for some people that maybe can't do it, because there truly are those people. We can't continue to ask all the different property owners or business owners to foot all the work to help clean up these sanitary nuisance issues when, you know what I mean? We got to find a different way to look at it, that's all I'm saying. And I just wanted to mention that while we're discussing it publicly.
Yeah, and with Fonda, you know, sometimes these are properties that we've had issues with in the past, but they were never, you know, sometimes with the health department, they're like, oh, we're not scared of them, they're not going to do anything. With the county, oh, they're not going to do anything. But by us coming together, You know,
Yes.
it's pushed Fonda too, because he sends dumpsters out there.
Yes,
And in cases in the past, he sent dumpsters out there before and they never used them. So now we're asking a lot from Fonda as well by getting those dumpsters back out there to assist.
right. Which tailors right into what Commissioner Ward brought up earlier in the meeting. Some of these things we're having to increase. We might need more of those roll-off dumpsters as we start trying to really tackle some of these issues and really start to have some code enforcement in Franklin County. I mean, I don't know the status, but that's something we need to talk to Mr. Davis about. Because if he's only got 4, he's only got 4. If we're starting to have a need for 6, then we might need to buy 2 more, you know what I mean? So I just wanted to mention that because those discussions need to happen live and in real time. We can't, you know, this is on time. We can talk about it if we're gonna vote on it, so. Just wanted to mention it.
Mr. Chairman, if I can, some of these situations like Ms. Banks alluded to is finding them take a dumpster out there and it sits there
Yep,
and they don't do nothing.
right.
Because I've witnessed it personally, multiple times.
Yep.
And I mean, you got able-bodied people that just absolutely is not gonna do anything. Now, so are you saying that we should
No.
spend public money?
I'm saying that we can't continue as a county to rely on the people that own the hauling and land clearing businesses and keep asking them to volunteer their equipment and their time
Okay.
to do the work, and they're just completely, it ain't
Yeah.
their property that's a nuisance, you know what I mean?
I understand.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Commissioners, I will say, I really like this effort, this hybrid system without having one person as a code enforcement officer that now, when there's an issue, you have the county, which is Courtney, you have the health department, which is truly DEP, to be very honest with you guys, and the sheriff sending a deputy, they all show up at the same time. So I think people are starting to get the point and respect when they see all, like they see a county car, the deputy car, the health, the state's car, like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Now, I think people are starting to respond like, okay, I really got it. The county's serious, so now I gotta do something about it. So, to me, this is like the next best thing than having one true code enforcement officer out there. Commissioner Ward, the only thing I would say that's slightly lacking is probably, it's more response, less patrol looking for stuff. But when Mrs. Bankson is out there, she's on
I'm
patrol.
patrolling.
So she's looking and taking pictures, you know, and then she comes back and she coordinates with everybody again, and there they go again.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I can say for certain that I've been out in the field with Courtney, and she is proactive, but it's a huge job. I mean,
Yes.
code enforcement is a huge job, and that's probably why nobody wants to be a code enforcement officer, because it's not, you could pay somebody $100,000 and it might still not be enough, because of the climate of things that they have to deal with. But I agree. I did ask Courtney if this was working better, and I know there was an issue in my district that we were dealing with, and it seemed to resolve faster than what I feel like it would have normally had it just been this old way. So, and I asked Courtney, and she said, yeah, it's working much better doing it this way than in the past, the way it's been. So I'm happy with this. I just, again, there's just not enough time in the day. We're trying to fix
No.
things that have been wrong and let go for many, many years, and so it's just, but progress is progress. We can't change the past. We can just live in the present and for the future, so that's what we need to do.
And I will say this, with all of us collectively going out there, those ones that you see that have a lot of RVs on them, and they're not hooked up to anything, and, you know, that's how it kind of gets bad with being a sanitary nuisance, because they're not hooked to any septic or anything like that. So, you know, there's no way for them to, there's no way for them to dump their sewage, so they have to move those campers off.
Mr. Chairman, I was looking at too, Wakulla County has some kind of program now that they're doing, and I was gonna research it a little bit further, that pertains a lot to that. So I was gonna reach out to some of those folks and see I was gonna do a little bit more research before I brought anything back to the board, but I was gonna look into that, just so everybody knows. See if it's something we can maybe do here to help with it.
Okay.
Mr. Commissioner, I got a question for Courtney. Courtney, with that, are y'all is it you going out seeing something visually, or is like neighbors or people calling in a complaint?
It's a little both,
Okay.
but mostly if I get a complaint, I take a certain day out of the week and I go to that property and look at it, but then I'm also driving around looking at other instances as well.
I was just curious if, you know, it goes back kind of like the sheriff, if you see something, say something. I mean, we can't be everywhere, but obviously if somebody's dumping sewer out on the ground next door, I mean, if it was next door to me, I'd say something. But anyway,
And most of them do.
okay. I was just curious if it was getting call-ins or visual or whatnot.
Can I ask you?
It's just a mixture of everything.
Courtney, on the complaint that we had out there at Lanark at Appalachia Street, did you ever go by there and see anything? If all three of y'all go in the health department, the sheriff's office, or you seen anything? Cause remember, we got complaints week after week about raw sewage being on the ground. Have you seen anything
So
out that way?
So that is one that I was supposed to get to last week, but there was so much going on, I didn't get a chance to get to that one. But
Okay.
that is one that's on our list to go to collectively.
Okay, okay. And, I'll wait to say something else. Well, I got something.
Any other questions or concerns for Ms. Courtney?
Courtney, Mr. Chairman, you have SHIP on here. Courtney, did you want to say something about that?
Yes, so I've been trying to also work with, the SHIP program. I've got Terry and that's gonna send me a list of contractors, because trying to get someone out there to do these small jobs like the emergency, SHIP, situations where they had SHIP in the past and what was done wasn't really up to code, so now we're having to fix it. There's a process for that, and I've got Terry sending me contractors to see if I can get someone to come out and fix, but it's, SHIP is not really that easy of a process either. Everything has, different steps that you have to meet, especially for the state, so that we're not even getting in trouble. So the update with that is, there's a couple of emergency, I think I'm working on 3 emergency SHIP situations right now that I'm trying to get covered and taken care of.
Mr. Chairman, Courtney, I'll probably call you sometime, because what you just told me I didn't quite like what I just heard. You said not up to code. This is stuff that money paid for from governmental funds that wasn't done correctly?
Correct.
Then there could be codes changed.
The code's changed, yeah, I knew that too, but, okay. I'll, call you, it probably won't be today, but I'll
Okay.
give a call to you maybe
We got
tomorrow.
plenty of time left into that. Commissioner Ward, without going too deep in that discussion, let's just say it's, some of the issues are quality of work issues.
Okay.
All right, anything else from Ms. Courtney? All right, Ms. Griffin, up to you. Moving right along, huh? Only 3:30.
Look at us, ahead of schedule.
All right, Commissioners, first action item number 1, FWC's SGI Boat Ramp Improvement Grant Extension Amendment. They have sent Franklin County an amendment to the St. George Island Boat Ramp Grant Improvements, FWC Agreement Number 21107, to extend the expiration date of the grant from June 30th to December 31st, 2024. This extension will allow for sufficient time for the necessary permits to be issued for the breakwater improvements. Board action to approve and authorize the chairman to sign the grant award agreement.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Amison,
Second.
second by Commissioner Ward. Any discussion?
I just got a quick question. The breakwater, they're gonna put something out there to
Yes.
block that east wind?
Correct.
That's exactly
Okay.
right.
I
Yep.
just wanted to get that clarified because I've had questions about it.
Yeah. Yes, sir, that's exactly what it is.
And I'd like to launch my boat too that didn't sink.
So don't do it with an east wind.
No,
right
I
there.
know, trust me.
Not till after the 31st.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous.
Okay, next item number 2, attached is an amendment for the TDC's Historic Preservation Grant for the Maritime Heritage Museum project. This amendment will extend the completion date for the project from June 30th, 2024 to December 31st, 2024. Board action to approve and authorize the chairman to sign the attached grant amendment.
So
Pleasure,
moved.
board. All right, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Ward,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Amison. Any discussion? Ms. Aaron, is this gonna be enough time for the TDC to finish this?
Hopefully so.
Okay.
Yes, you know, we do feel like everything's actually under contract now, and actually my next action item is relative to the display
Okay.
cases.
Okay,
Um,
all right.
Also included in the project scope was the construction and installation of
Hold on,
custom.
hold, we haven't voted yet, I'm sorry.
Right
I was asking a question. You ready to go, though? I like that. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous. All right, please proceed.
Okay, also included in the project scope was the construction and installation of custom-fit display cases. Unfortunately, no responses were received when we formally advertised for construction bids. As there were no responses from private industry, county staff contacted the Conservation Corps of the Forgotten and Wilderness Coast, a branch of the Franklin's Promise Coalition, to see if they were interested in building the cases as one of their youth service projects. The Conservation Corps provided an estimate of $31,517.50 to build and install the custom display cases. This amount falls within the budget of the grant award, and the State Division of Historic Resources has approved the attached subcontract between Franklin County and the Franklin's Promise Coalition. Now, also for this project, the TDC had pledged a $25,000 match for the local side. And so actually, we will use the $25,000 out of TDC sales tax proceeds to actually go towards this installation cost and construction cost for the display cases. So board action to approve and authorize the chairman to sign the contract for the Conservation Corps Group to construct the display cases at the Maritime Museum.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Ward, second by Commissioner Croom. Discussion?
How big are these cases?
There are multiple cases.
Because it's
Yeah.
boats and stuff, right?
It's almost like custom cabinetry,
Yeah.
from what I
Okay,
understand.
just
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah.
I think they're all different
Yeah.
sizes this year, but they're gonna be throughout the museum.
Gotcha.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous.
And just before we leave the museum, I want to, the wiring is done, finally. All the
Hallelujah.
televisions are, all the monitors are hooked up, everything is good to go on that end. We're working on the software, which will load the movies and the promos that we have. I'm looking at Royce because I think he's doing some of those promotion stuff, so that's working on that part of it.
Okay.
Okay. Next action item number 3, on April 18, 2024, the county opened construction bids for the second time for the CDBG-funded housing rehabilitation of the residents located at 123 Hathcock Road in Apalachicola. The first construction contractor withdrew from the project due to a serious medical condition. The county's CDBG consultant Summit Professional Services has reviewed the sole bid received and recommends an award to Scruggs Construction of Alligator Point in the amount of $99,050. Board action to approve the recommendation of award and authorize the chairman to sign the contract documents when available to Scruggs Construction of Alligator Point.
Pleasure of the board.
Send me.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Sanders,
Second.
second by Commissioner Ward. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous.
Okay, Commissioners, I do have one late add item, and it's actually relative to this project update. The new mobile homes for the awarded bidder Ironwood Homes of Perry are set to be delivered within the month. Relocation assistance is being provided to those homeowners during the setup process. I actually just received this afternoon the payment authorization forms to actually issue the checks for the homeowner relocation assistance. In addition to Vector Security. That was actually the other check I was gonna request it to have done by a manual check run. So the manual check run would consist of Vector Security. We're awaiting requested contract documentation to process invoices for the security cameras at various county locations. Check amount will not exceed $10,000. And then the CDBG program payment authorization forms, it was actually one check to National General Insurance Company, which was 1 year's worth of flood insurance for a resident on Tallahassee Street for $2,099, and then the actual relocation assistance and move-out allowances for the 3 recipients of the new mobile home replacements. And those amounts will be actually $1,250 apiece, and that's the $1,000 May living allowance and also the $250 apiece move-out allowance as well, so for during that period of relocation.
So is this to do a manual check run?
It is, yep, so I know you all have to call for public comment, but
Right,
we
mhm.
did just receive the request today, so.
Okay.
so,
And you're aware of this, correct?
yeah.
I got a question.
Yes.
Is this the same mobile home company that's been doing the SHIP mobile
No,
home?
CDBG.
Okay, well, I'm just wondering if it's the same mobile
Yeah.
home manufacturer.
See, no.
I think we've been using all kinds of
It seems like
different
with
ones.
SHIP, it may have been CMH.
I know it was out of Perry.
No, it's
Yeah.
Ironwood Homes and it's Perry.
Yeah, there was Ironwood Homes and CMH Mobile Homes. I think with SHIP, there was, it was the HHRP funds
Yeah.
recently that kind of the
But
SHIP
it was,
program.
I think Ironwood was probably
One of
the
them.
lowest bidder in most of those.
I just know we're having some issues with those mobile homes with
Yeah,
SHIP.
Yeah.
I think Mr. Croom can attest to that. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yes,
And
he
to
can.
throw more money.
Now, I will
Yeah.
say
Probably
with
one
this,
of their lowest bidder.
the CDBG program, there is actually a lot of, since it's federal funds, they actually had to do a lot of energy efficiency upgrades and also even storm hardening upgrades. So, the CDBG program does actually require a little bit higher end model.
All right, so before we take any action, I want to call for public comment because this was not something that was on our agenda about this manual check run for Ironwood Mobile Homes and for Vector Security. Mr. Ron, would you ask if anybody online would like to speak?
Anybody attending by Zoom, would you like to comment on this particular item before it goes for action, board action? Manual checks for CDBG relocation and Vector Security. You can indicate that by raising your hand on your smart device. No hands raised, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, pleasure of the board.
Mr. Chairman, do we need to make this in 2 separate motions because they're 2 separate payees, or can we do it all in one?
There's multiple pays, but one,
One motion's fine.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Ward,
Second.
second by Commissioner Croom. Any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous.
Okay, Commissioners, next action item is number 4. As mentioned in prior meetings, there are changes on the horizon with the state emergency response SLURS system, and at some point, the county will be mandated to transition to a banded 800 megahertz radio system. The county has submitted a grant application to Triumph to fund this necessary upgrade. Triumph staffers have reviewed the county's application and recommend splitting the project into 2 phases: planning and design and construction implementation. The county's $25,000 match will go towards the Phase 1 planning design, and once that phase is complete, the county will have a better estimate of the total construction funding needed from Triumph. The county will use the sheriff's $1.5 million radio equipment grant from the Florida legislature as match for Phase 2, which would be the construction and implementation of the project. Although the Triumph program is funded by settlement funds due to impacted counties from the Deepwater Horizon oil spill, the program has strict requirements for eligibility and local match. A fully operational and effective radio communication system will be extremely expensive, but is of paramount importance for life-saving response services. In Wakulla County, the $12 million project included the property acquisition and construction of 7 radio communications towers, programming, base stations, and the purchase of radios for all first response entities. Walton County is also in progress with their new system through Triumph. One side benefit to the construction of the new radio communication towers is the ability for telecommunications providers to rent tower space to be able to provide better internet, broadband, and cellular service within the county. This system upgrade will not only provide reliable communications and equipment for first responders, law enforcement, the cities, county departments, ambulance service, school district, and volunteer fire departments, but will also enhance the county's broadband and cellular access for all residents. Board action to approve submitting the attached memorandum of amendment to transition the county's application for the project into 2 phases, which would be Phase 1, planning and design, and Phase 2, construction and implementation.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Amison,
Second.
second by Commissioner Ward and Commissioner Croom. Any discussion, commissioners? Seeing none, all who are in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's a 5-0 vote.
Next, item number 5, at the March 21st, 2023 meeting, the board approved the purchase of a new 2023 John Deere 544P wheel loader for the landfill to replace the 2008 model. People South provided the best 5-year rate with a 5% fixed term. People South has submitted the attached corrected loan documents, whereas the loan payment amount in the original promissory note did not align with my amortization schedule. And this was actually something that was found actually by the bank's auditors when they started reviewing all of their documentation for the various loans that they issue. For the county, they had actually quoted us, I believe it was $37,000 plus interest, and then when they got around to actually doing the promissory note, the term and the total cost were correct, and they actually left the interest off of the payment value. So when we received the payment booklet, it was incorrect. So board action to approve and authorize the chairman to sign the attached corrective promissory note and commercial loan agreement for the 2023 wheel loader for the Franklin County landfill.
Make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Croom, second by Commissioner Amison and Commissioner Sanders. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I will say, I rode out to the landfill last week with Mr. Fonda Davis, and, you know, people don't realize how old, and this is just for the landfill, this is for Parks and Rec, it's for the road department. We have a lot of just like the airport, a lot of outdated equipment, and I don't know if maybe looking in the future, we can, I know we talked about leasing before, I don't know if maybe we can, I know at one time the leasing, it wasn't worth, you know, just buying the piece of equipment outright. So I don't know if we could, again, budget coming up, thinking, just talking, throwing this out there, we might need to look at what equipment might be best to purchase versus lease. So we're not having to redo this or maintain this equipment that's costing us more money than it is just to purchase another piece of equipment that might come up and do 3 jobs instead of just 1 job, if that makes sense.
And unfortunately, we've run into the issue with the landfill is that it's such a heavy-duty application that we pretty much end up just doing lease purchase agreements on those equipment, because really, by the time we are finished using it, there's not really any residual value. So that's, with the landfill, we're kind of stuck with the lease purchase
And those machines are
situation.
constantly running. I'm
They
talking
are.
constantly. I mean, they didn't stop the whole time I was out there the other day. So anyway.
Ms. Aaron, how close are we to the transfer station?
We are actually very close. So right now, we are in the 45-day public comment period, which is required by Restore before we're actually able to submit the construction grant,
Right.
which actually coincided because we also received the April deposit into our Restore account balance, and we're not able to actually obligate any additional construction funding until we have a large enough cash balance in the fund to cover the projects.
Right.
So with the last April deposit, time-wise, we are actually fully funded at this point for countywide dune restoration, that project, the SGI stormwater, and now the landfill transfer station and administration building.
Okay.
So there is enough construction funding available. Once we, go through this 45-day public comment period, submit that information to Restore, then we can actually formally submit the construction application on that one. So I would say probably a good, really as slow as they have been going, probably 6 months to a year
Okay.
before we have formal.
Right, but the reason I'm asking that is, I'm assuming, I could be wrong, that some of our present needs are gonna change when we go to a transfer station,
Correct.
as far as
Yep.
equipment and those kind of things.
Yep.
That's what I was asking.
Yep. You will likely still need some equipment, but it will be a shift, for
Yep.
sure.
Okay. All right, we still haven't voted, correct?
I think Mr. Croom,
I have the vote
no, yeah, that's right.
on the Triumph application. I don't have a motion or a second on the wheel loader. Do
I
you?
thought
I thought it was
Commissioner
made by Commissioner
Croom,
Croom.
Croom
Yeah,
made
I
the
think-
motion.
He
and-
made the motion. I second.
Yep. We do have a motion second, we just haven't voted, I don't think. All right, so based on Commissioner Croom's motion and Commissioner Anderson's second, all in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous.
Okay.
Correction, I believe me and Commissioner Sanders seconded that.
My, go ahead, Ms. Aaron.
Okay. Next action item, Franklin County is beginning preparations for the 24-25 budget. All budget requests must be submitted by July 1st, 2024. I have prepared the attached draft budget request letter with the following instructions. At the direction of the board, please submit your funding request to be able to provide the same level of services in the upcoming year. It is unknown at this time what the monetary impact will be on the county and state from this extended period of high inflation. In addition to completing the provided budget forms for your department's annual operating budget, please complete the attached capital improvement form, which would include repairs, capital outlay, or improvements estimated to cost more than $15,000, and return by email no later than June 15th to assist the county with planning for the long-term capital needs of your department. The upcoming budget will also include the Year 5 implementation of the 5-year pay plan as developed by Evergreen Solutions. The 5-year plan offered a statistical peer data-based solution to address wage disparity, market value discrepancies, some wage compression issues, and a gradual escalation in the base salaries to meet the $15 minimum wage mandate in 2026. Board action to authorize sending the budget request letter as drafted or with any changes or additional instructions.
So move.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Ward,
I second.
second by Commissioner Anderson. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. All right, anything else, Ms. Griffith?
Just miscellaneous project updates. Things are just moving along. Yeah. Any specific questions on any particular projects?
I do, I have a question.
Go ahead.
On the, Highway 67 paving north of the bridge, when did we okay that contract? Because they still are not out there.
Okay.
Long time ago,
Huh?
long time ago.
I know.
Okay.
If you don't mind, what I'm saying, I'm gonna go ahead and do this. We need to contact them and see when they're gonna be mobilizing to Franklin County,
Okay.
because this should have been done. I've never seen Roberts and Roberts do that before. They've always been right on the money, right there when we've still got the standard 180 days to complete the project, right? Well, you rocking 4 months,
Yes.
4 months probably.
We've already awarded phase 3, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, we've even got stage 3.
That's what I'm talking
And they
about.
will be
Yeah,
wanting to come
fine.
for a change order.
Yeah.
I'll reach
So
out to
can
them.
you, can you reach out to them? Yep. Cause I know that they're not going because I had to go drive by it every day. So, I mean, they may have been here to put out a sign or something like that, but they've got a whole passel of them, culverts they gotta put out. And they hadn't even started doing the culvert work. So it concerns me, that we're gonna be running over schedule.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, this kind of goes with Aaron and Mr. Marone, and it's what I discussed earlier. And I mentioned having a meeting with the department directors and you and Michael and whoever, but I don't know, maybe we should put it in a workshop. I'm just throwing this out because it's the only time we can talk about this. That all the commissioners can be involved, because let's face it, some county employees may not feel comfortable going to a commissioner, or they may not feel comfortable going to the director to ask questions, but the whole Evergreen thing too, I think we could bring everybody in collectively to say, look, this is how Evergreen works, this is what it is, do we want to go to the cost of living raises in another year? Do we want to, after the Evergreen's over, do we want to go back out for RFQs to see if we still want Evergreen involved or some other company? There's just a lot of things at play. And I know when we first, and I know Evergreen has done what they're supposed to do, but again, we still have those, I would say, I guess I could use the word discrepancies, where some people feel like they're not getting still what they deserve when you've got someone that's worked for the county 20 years and then somebody new coming in making the same amount or more, which is not fair. Now, I know we've got grades, and I think a lot of people don't understand those grades, because as the chairman stated earlier, the more responsibility you have, the more hats you wear, the more money you should get paid. But I also think that, the more certifications you have, you should get paid extra for that too. Because I know, like with our mosquito control, they have to get a lot of certifications, just like a lot of our heavy equipment operators. So I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there, if that might be something that the board wants to do, or if people wanna just meet individually. I just feel like we need to come together collectively as a group to come up with a way that everybody seems like they're getting a fair shake when it comes to anybody getting a raise. And I'm gonna be straight up and honest with you. I wanna give everybody in the county that works for a raise, because Erin goes above and beyond her job to do what she needs to do. You go above and beyond and do what you need to do. I know Courtney does. And I'm not gonna name all the county employees, because gosh, there's too many of them, but I don't leave anybody out either. But that's my point. And again, these services that we provide to our county, to the citizens, we need to make sure that our county employees are taken care of and compensated appropriately for that. That's just my thoughts.
I'm definitely good with that discussion, but I do think, Commissioner, we're mixing a couple of terms there. There's a difference between cost of living raise and an actual promotion or a wage increase due to having received a certification or having done, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Those are, I'll just say this, and I won't go too far down the rabbit hole. I've said this many times, we budget like all of our employees are salaried, and then we treat them like they're hourly. Well, you can't be both. You have to be on salary or hourly. You can't be both. You can't have both benefits of both ways and none of the cons. That doesn't work for the county, and it creates all kind of problems for us. But when we start talking about it, I'm good with the discussion, I'm fine with it completely. But we need to make sure that we are completely understanding when we talk about terms of going to cost of living increases. Well, that's something they're gonna get every year, period. The Evergreen solution basically sets a pay scale for this individual job. And as long as you're doing that individual job, that's your pay scale. It can't be somebody else's pay scale. You know what I mean? Because you're not doing their job. That's what I think a lot of employees haven't understood about that process, about trying to set up that scale. But the benefit of that is, I know if I'm working in the county and I'm doing this job, I have the chance to make up to this amount of money. I can do things to get there, you know what I mean? So, yeah, but I'm fine with the
Yeah,
conversation.
and Mr. Chairman, I think a lot of people too are confused with people wear many hats.
Yes.
And I'm just going to, Courtney as an example, she does planning and zoning duties, but she also does board duties, administrative duties. Erin, I know she goes out in the field a lot and does things that probably are a little bit more than what her job entails. Just like you, I've gotten phone calls from both of you at night, after hours on Sundays.
Yep.
So, whether it's salary or hour, I get it, but the point is just, and echoing the point that the chairman stated, some of these people wear many hats and they're doing different jobs, but then they're in this one pay scale where they should be in another pay scale, if that makes sense. And talking about, like you said earlier with this whole HR thing, I mean, if the department directors want to have their own budget and divvy it up how they seem fit, like the constitutional officers do, then that's something we need to look at too. Because that way it takes, I would like to say it's gonna take the board out of
No,
getting
it won't
contacted.
either.
We're still gonna get contacted.
If they called you the
But-
first time, they'll call you the second time, but go ahead.
But maybe, and I don't want the county employees either to think that they can't talk to anybody and because of fear of retribution from the director. But then I also don't want the directors to feel like they can't come before this board to fight for their employees because they're gonna get backlash from it. And again, I don't wanna go home at the end of the meeting after giving somebody a raise I felt like deserved it and then get bashed for that. You know what I mean?
Out there
And,
walking
and
from the car.
I'm not saying that I got bashed. I'm just saying there were people that just didn't think it was fair. And I'm all about fair and impartiality. And I just feel like there's maybe some discrepancies that we could just all collectively come together with and think about and talk about and lay it all out on the table. So when we go next year, we gotta make a decision. I'd rather do it now than later. Talk about it.
I agree. It needs to be now rather than later, because if you guys remember, maybe not you, Commissioner Kroon, but not too long ago, we talked to Evergreen about a few projects, one including teaching our directors how to do annual reviews, then the annual review system. So there's things we put in place that as soon as this last year of the pay plan, it was gonna kick in with this training and work. So if we don't want Evergreen to do that, yeah, you're absolutely right, Commissioner, we need to decide now. And, you know, and there are simple things that people don't understand, I agree, because I keep hearing everybody, and I know what we're talking about. We're talking about when I gave Mr. Phillips, when he was promoted. People are not getting the difference between a raise and promoted. Usually, a raise you get for doing the job that you're doing a good job, or going above what you're required to do, like the chairman said, in the scope. A promotion is when you are moved into a higher grade, if we want to use grade, of responsibility, so yes, you naturally get more money. They're confusing the two. I think some of the other departments, they don't apply apples to apples, but there are times when we have moved someone in some of the other departments from a 3 to a 4 or 4 to a 5, that is the same thing. By moving them to that 4 or 5, we're expecting them to do more, and then they get more money. But sometimes and I'm not saying they're being willful, it doesn't connect. So I think a workshop would help connect those pieces, so they'll be like, oh, so they consider that the same thing? Yes, we do. You know, so Commissioner Sanders, you want to talk, so I'll pause for a second.
I'm about to go crazy over here, not be able to say something, but, you know, I've seen it come and go throughout the years, a lot of years. We did an initiative where, you know, we told the department heads to, you know, to evaluate them. But at that time, the department heads didn't know how to evaluate them.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? This is something new. But what I would say is this. The department heads we have now are very, very good at what they do. They can do that. If we go and do what we said we were going to do it with Evergreen and ask them to try to, you know, teach our department heads how to evaluate, you are going to have that little pot of money in there for that department head to be able to divvy out. The one thing that we have done, and we have always done it, and it's always come back to bite us one way or the other, is we in the past had took every employee equal.
Yes.
And bad gets a raise, good gets a raise. You see what I'm saying? So you need something in there to say, okay, now you're doing a good job, but you're not doing a good enough job. But I'm going to give you this right here, this percentage or whatever. And if you pull it back up next year, you might get something better. I don't work with those employees. None of us work with those employees. But that department head does. And I think it should be up to the department head to let us know what they feel like they need to do. The one main thing that I've always had a problem with is, you know, the county commission is public, it's public record. Everybody sees who everybody what everybody makes. That's good and that's bad. That's a pull down of being a public employee. So, you know, I see a lot of what Jessica's saying. I agree with that, but we need to just carry on like we're carrying on, and let's go through Evergreen and see if they can't give us something that will help the department heads do what they, and then you can give them a little pot of money to do this and that. Because I know a former person that they said that what they did is if somebody made good, they rewarded them. If they didn't, they didn't get, if the other person didn't do quite so good, they didn't give them as good. Now they gave them something, but they didn't give them as good as what they would have if they'd done it. You gotta have an incentive to make the people want to work. And that's the way, you know, I feel.
And in my job, Mr. Chairman, I'm just gonna throw this out there, since we're talking about it. I get a cost of living raise. I think I got 50 cents more this year than I did last year. Am I complaining? No, that's 50 cents more than I got today than yesterday. In addition to that, they do merit raises at my job. Merit raises are for everybody. So if I've got my coworker who does not go above and beyond and does not do the job, they get the same amount of pay that I do.
How's that a
That's what I-
merit raise?
And that's what I was talking about.
Good question. Do I go to my boss and complain about it? No, because
That's
at
what I
the
was
end of the
talking
day,
about.
it's more than what I had than yesterday.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I hope so.
I think too, a lot of the concern issue was that we didn't go out for, we didn't advertise for the job. And you discussed at length as to why that didn't happen. But again, I just want to make sure that we try to be, as Commissioner Sanders said earlier, above board when it comes to certain things. And I want to make sure that, again, all of our county employees know that they can come, speak their mind, say their piece, as with the department directors, and we
With
can
you.
all, at the end of the day, come to a conclusion that's going to benefit everybody.
One more comment, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind. One good example is Parks and Rec, Fonda's department.
Yeah,
That he can't keep nobody working.
Commissioner, I've preached to y'all about that department, even
I
though I
mean-
don't, even though I don't supervise it, I've preached about that department.
And what is it for? Most of the time, it's because they're quitting because the pay is not enough and they're going on to a job
And the-
that makes more
And
money.
the weekend
The
shifts and
weekend
all that.
work, yeah.
Let me say this, good, bad, or indifferent, everybody can take it the way they want to. One thing the Evergreen Pay Plan did, it brought to attention what your fellow coworker was making. Prior to that, commissioners, I'll be very honest, even though it's public record, prior to that, most people didn't know what their fellow, their coworker, the guy next to them was making or paid attention to it. The pay plan changed that for good or for bad.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll just leave it at that.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's, and, I mean, Erin has cried enough in her office about it, you know, and I've you know, kind of brought her back and say, it's okay, you know, and she's like, I would never do this again. I'm like, no, we have to think of what's good, you know, because, commissioners, I know you hear the complaints. There are a lot of employees that are very grateful for what you guys have done. They might, that's probably not the ones that's calling you, but they appreciate, because they know there were years when we got nothing. There were years when it was $500. There was years when it was 12. You know, we went a lot of ups and downs, but there, you have a lot of employees that are very grateful. So please, don't judge all your employees by the ones that complain. I ask you, please don't do that.
And this is also, you know, keep in mind as well, this is the county's first attempt at actually implementing a pay plan with classification and pay grades. You know, so that's one thing too, we're also probably a good 30 years behind when you think
Yes.
about it, because, you know, a long time ago, there were discussions about doing an actual pay plan with classifications, and it was too expensive to implement. So this board
Yeah.
has taken the bull
Yeah.
by the horns to try to address some of these issues, and it's not gonna be fixed overnight.
Right.
It didn't
Yeah.
happen
That's right.
overnight.
We paid $10,000 for it.
What was her name? She sat right there. What was-
Actually, Lucy Turner, that
Lucy
was the
Turner.
second time.
That was the second time she
Yeah.
sat right there.
Paid
I remember that.
$10,000 for it.
Yeah, the first time was actually back in, gosh, it
I'm
seems
telling
like
you.
it was
Yeah.
the
I saw,
late 90s.
I saw that
Yeah,
document, yeah.
yeah.
But
Well,
anyway,
Mr.
that's-
Chairman, I agree, and I do echo Aaron, you're right. And that's why I don't want to use the word kink, but in discrepancy, kinks. There's kinks in everything that you do for the first time. But that's why I want to do this, is to get all those kinks worked out so that we're a little bit more prepared this time, or we're going into it this next time than we were this time. And I think I was new to the board. I think it was the first 6 months of me being on this board that we voted for that. And I'm glad we did, but again, I think they did what they were supposed to do. There was just some things that, again, some kinks that need to be worked out. And I think that all of us working together will work those kinks out. But
I agree.
But those are calls that you got and calls that you got that I was just trying to allude to that we didn't even get, because you guys got the brunt of that too. And again, that's why it's your job, but it's not your job. You know, you didn't expect all that either. So-
Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna say one more thing. Money's always at the root of conversations in families and stuff, you know. And we have this family gathering, and we're all gathered there and talking about, well, what do you make, Aunt Cheryl? I said, it don't matter what I make. But anyway, and so they said, well, how long have you worked? I said, I've worked all my life. And I said, I went from making $183 an hour in $183 a month, working for the high school, to 90 cents an hour in 1980. 90 cents an hour? I said, yeah. And they said, oh my God, they're used to $15, $20 an hour, you know. They said, oh, that's not a lot of money. I said, I was so tickled because after 6 months, I got the nickel on the hour raise. I was tickled, 95 cents. So you see how it's changed. That's in the 80s. We were in the middle of a recession with Reagan back then, a little bit before Reagan, after Reagan. But anyway, but it didn't take much to live. Now it takes a lot to live. So we really need to do the best, and the employees is what puts out the work.
Yep.
I mean, we delegate.
Go to McDonald's, they'll tell you. Okay, you guys want me to move on?
Yeah.
Okay, page 21, we're getting there. Oh, look at that, working 9 to 5. So, the last meeting, the board heard from ECCC, Elder Care Community Council, about reopening the Carabel Senior Congregate site. They submitted a couple of options to the board for consideration. After staff reviewed the options that they presented and the associated costs, it was determined that the board should authorize a request for qualifications advertisement for these services. It's a lot, and I'm gonna stay here and tell you detail for detail, but that's what staff is recommending. This RFQ would allow other interested organizations the opportunity to apply if they'd like to. And I've met with ECCC representatives. We had a meeting right here, and they fully support what the county advertising these services. Their thing is, if there's a partner, perhaps maybe on that side of the county that's willing to do what they can, and we feel good about it, they're for it too. They feel all they're in it for is to provide the best services for seniors in this county, no matter what it takes. So I'm asking the board to approve me doing an RFQ for advertising.
I think so too. A motion to approve.
Second with comment.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Sanders, second by Commissioner Ward. Please proceed, Commissioner.
So the amount that ECCC gave us was 51,000. According to our current bid policy, we technically have to go out for
Yes.
any RFQs, RFPs,
That's one
because
of
they
that-
exceeded that amount.
That was one of the triggers, Commissioner, correct.
I just want the public to be aware.
But
Okay.
now, to follow on to that though, by using RFQ though, there is not a price associated
No,
with that.
what we're looking for
That's
is
a negotiation once you decide.
qualifications, which we probably should have been doing in the first
Good,
place. Yes.
that's good.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous.
As based on your new rules, the City of Carabel has nominated Commissioner Sabrina Brown to fill the vacant city seat on the TDC. The Carabel seat became vacant recently when Ms. Brenda La Paz resigned as mayor. Board action to accept Ms. Sabrina Brown as the City of Carabel's representative on TDC.
And you got a letter to that effect?
I got an email from
Okay.
Courtney to that effect, not
So-
our Courtney, that's Carabel Courtney.
Yeah.
Dempsey.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Sanders, second by Commissioner Ward. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous.
All right, Commissioner Ward, team effort here. Weems Memorial is notified of the availability of a $2,813 $1.45 grant. This was referred to in the past as the baby EMS grant, I believe, Commissioner Sanders. Mr. Waltman, who's the EMS director, would like to purchase a butterfly ultrasound that I'm going to stop here and let our medical expert explain what this butterfly ultrasound actually is.
Well, I'm not a medical expert by any means, but ultrasound can be used for if they have a hard time trying to find venous access to administer life-saving drugs to people, which is sometimes not always easy to find a vein on somebody, especially if they're dehydrated. So that'll help with this. He talks about to confirm a pneumothorax. That's basically if, say, somebody gets in a bad car accident or something bad happens, they can just ultrasound the chest to see if there's any, that's blood basically on the lungs, that they would need to put a tube into the area to extract the blood so it's not pushing onto their lungs and heart, causing more health problems. So that would be a good, by using this ultrasound, they'll know exactly where to put that tube or needle to decompress that to where they can save a life.
Like that.
Yeah.
So, Williams administration supports this request, and a resolution for the chairman's signature was attached to the agenda. So I need board action to authorize the chairman's signature on this resolution. If you guys agree that they
So
can.
moved.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Anderson,
Second.
second by Commissioner Ward. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's 5-0.
Mr. Patterson, your building official, wants to advertise for two positions. One is a building zoning permit clerk, and the other is a building inspector.
Pleasure of the board.
So move.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Ward,
Second.
second by Commissioner Amison. Discussion?
Is this, Mr. Chairman, is this zoning permit clerk to take the place of the one that resigned, or are they wanting to
Yes,
add
the one
another one
that,
too?
let me just say, the mutual agreement that at the end of probation that decided that, yeah.
Okay,
Yes, that's spot.
okay.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous.
I was going to read this when you asked Courtney about SHIP, Commissioner Ward. As directed by the board, Ms. Courtney Baxton, she's assuming the SHIP program administrative duties. The transfer of the zoning administrator responsibilities from Ms. Baxton is taking longer than expected for a few different reasons. Therefore, the handover of the SHIP administrative duties to Ms. Baxton, that's also taking longer than expected. To expedite this transfer, I contacted former SHIP administrator, Ms. Lori Schweitzer Mills, about some training for Ms. Baxton. Ms. Mills and I agreed to a rate of $25 per hour with a $500 maximum cap. Ms. Mills doesn't even think it's going to take that much because all she's teaching her is the files, how to compile the files, what information to put there. Florida Housing will give Courtney the training when it comes to the reports and all the other she has to fill out these reports about how much money we have, when to advertise. That will come from Florida Training for free. So, but Courtney, we need to start their files. She has to go through, and I needed to get some help as quickly as possible.
Lori's good.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, is this gonna come out of the, what kind of line item budget?
Well, I was,
SHIP has administration.
they have
funds, don't
administration, but I was
Okay,
going
okay.
to ask Linda about that, if you guys said, okay, if not,
Okay.
then I'll come back to you if I had to. I didn't think I would have to do.
I'll make a motion to approve this.
they? A motion to approve by Commissioner Ward,
Second.
second from Commissioner Amison. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a 5-0 vote.
Mr. Chairman, I do got one question with that. Are we still, so we're not on that July deadline with CHIP now, or is it
Oh, no,
pushed
it's
back?
still there.
Okay.
That's
Still there.
what we're hustling at.
Okay.
The deadline we missed was,
Well, that was the
guarantee
one
I
in
made
April.
you guys in
yeah.
April, and
Yeah.
it didn't work out, yeah.
Okay.
That was my deadline. ARPC, you guys engaged them earlier to do your county's comprehensive plan and zoning ordinance. And on behalf of the county, they applied and received a $50,000 cost reimbursement, community planning technical assistance grant to pay for the project. ARPC representative presented their initial review back in February, and now they want to do an update, not March
May.
21st, Marone, May 21st, that's why I got so confused. May 21st at 1:30, that's your next meeting, 1:30 in the afternoon here. Thank God it wasn't today, because they'll be still there waiting, but yes, so I just need board action to authorize that workshop, 1:30, 2 weeks from today.
So move.
A motion to approve by Commissioner Amison,
Second.
second by Commissioner Curran. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous.
Commissioners, community action have contacted me about renting the bottom floor of the Chapman Building for the Head Start program. We've discussed a monthly rental amount. We have to discuss utilities, renovations, sharing a restrooms with panhandle players, and the proximity of the Apalachicola Library, because that's right outside the door. Before I proceed and start to get closer to basically having an agreement to bring back to you for your approval, do you have any reservations about this? About them having the Head Start program? They love the space. I think I have a deal worked out for renovation that will be a win-win. The Apalachicola Library loves that they'll have a Head Start program there because they will use the children back and forth over the breezeway. They've been talking about putting a cover over the walkway to let the kids move back and forth. This is me filling out the board to see, I want to make sure before we get into deep discussions with Tim Center, that you guys have no concerns or reservations about that.
So they're moving across the road?
Yeah.
They used to be, that.
No, they're the ones that
They're
are
in my
at the
granddaddy's
Sixth
old
Street.
house, right?
They're the ones that are up Sixth Street in Apalachicola. That's not the early head starters across the street. That's a
Oh,
different
okay.
program.
All right.
Yes.
I got you.
Mr. Chairman, I'm okay with that as long as you're okay with that and Attorney Schuler looks at the contracts
Oh,
and
yeah.
everybody's okay with that.
Okay, good. I'll continue with those discussion. Fresenius, last meeting, your chairman asked that the board consider the possibility of contributing to this service provided in Gulf County. The chairman has some information there's how many, what
About
percentage of?
About 34% of the people they're seeing are from Franklin County.
I'll let you take it from here, sir.
And before, when they come to us and was asking, what, $50,000, Michael?
Was it 50 the first?
That was
More than
25.
that now.
I thought it was 25,000 because it was Triumph.
25 for the year?
25 per year?
25 per year, I think.
Yeah.
That's my memory as well.
25 per year for
25.
5 years, so it's 125.
Yes, 25 for 5 years,
So
yes.
the modified ask, based on the percentage that's being used, is 14,500 a year for 5 years.
That's not bad.
So, I don't know how we fund it, but that's what we're here to discuss. But I think that, you know, it's valuable to have something like a dialysis system close to us. And if it takes us having some skin in the game to make sure it stays there, I'm good with it. Because it's helping our residents that above anybody, you don't want anybody that, if it were my family member, I don't want them skipping dialysis because they can't afford it or the trip's too far away. And this is as close as it's gonna get for us for now.
And they're covered by Capital Health.
Yes, and it's
I
covered
agree
by
with you.
Capital Health Plan.
You want a motion?
Well, I can hit you one close to home. I got an uncle that's deceased
Yeah.
that refused dialysis because of the travel.
Yeah.
And that was 4 years ago,
So
3
that's
years
not
ago.
good.
And these
You know.
people are
Yeah.
sick, Mr.
Yes,
Chairman. They
they
don't
are.
want to have to drive 2 hours either way, depending on where they are.
I don't-
It just, it's,
Yeah, I don't know how we're planning on paying for it. I didn't get that far down the road, but I believe we need to do it.
Well, I'm making a motion that we approve to help, fund the dialysis service, in Gulf County, and the money will be told to what, by Aaron, how much it's gonna be, but,
You want me
and
to?
where we gonna take it out of.
Would it be better to take it out of professional services? It's not a lifetime contract.
It's just a one-time allocation?
It's for 5 years, 14,500 a year for 5 years.
Yeah,
Want me to-
professional services would probably be,
I agree.
You- Do you need to do some kind of contract or anything?
I don't think so.
Or just
I don't
do it?
think so.
Okay. Well, my motion to approve it for that
I'll second.
amount for 5 years, $14,500 a year for
Yeah.
5 years,
Yep.
to help the people of Franklin County get the dialysis, have the dialysis services.
Ensure it don't go nowhere. All right, so we do have a motion by Commissioner Sanders, second by Commissioner Anderson, using professional services budget to pay for this
Okay.
item. Any discussion, Commissioners? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous.
I mean, that's I know it's money, but it's dropping the bucket compared to somebody's life.
Yes. All right, Mr. Poole?
Item number 9, as commissioners and staff continue to receive complaints regarding illegal occupation of RV campers in the county, I would like the board to authorize Attorney Schuler to start the process of amending the current ordinance. Here's what I'm proposing. The amended language would address the following. I think we should prohibit occupation of RV campers on St. George Island and Alligator Point, Ball Point, even to the extent of we have this thing where we do owner, somebody, basically, if you come and pull a permit, you're gonna build a house, we give you temporary power for your RV to live there. Nope, I'm sorry, it has caused too much problems in the past where they pull the permit, never build a house, and now they have power to their RV or camper forever, and we have a fight to get it off. So when I say no occupation, none on St. George Island, Alligator Point, or Ball Point. Next, the prohibited occupation of RV campers within 1,000 feet of any body of water except for licensed RV campers and parks. I originally said 500 to 800. The Mr. Patterson, our billing official, said, now, you need to go more. So he's recommending 1,000. What I'd like to do is have a map prepared for you by ARPC, showing you exactly throughout the entire county where 1,000 feet off of bodies of water will reach, so you guys can decide if it's too much. If 1,000 is too much, you'd like to cut it down, that will be there. If you authorize this and if we have this public hearing, we'll have that map prepared for you. And finally, prohibit occupation of RV campers in any R1 zone parcel in Franklin County.
Yeah, R1 houses.
It shouldn't
don't need
be.
to
I'm sorry, it shouldn't be. And that's what I'm asking the board to do. I realize it's not as comprehensive as what the board wanted, what Attorney Schuler presented. I get that, I understand that, but I'm sorry, I have to start somewhere, Commissioners.
We gotta do something after the last meeting.
Yeah, I gotta start somewhere, and if I'm not, this is the best that I have to offer at the moment, Again, I'm not saying we don't have other problems with RV and camper, I'm not saying that, but I need to start somewhere, and this, to me, is the easiest starting point for me.
So moved.
All right, so we have a motion to approve this, going to Attorney Schuler to start amending this current ordinance and bring it back to us for our, ultimate, I guess, scheduling a public hearing for it. All right, so we have a motion to approve this by Commissioner Amison,
Second.
second by Commissioner Sanders. I will ask for a point of clarification. On the one you have in here, letter I, the first one, it talks about occupation of RV and campers on St. George Island Ballpoint. It should also have that same language, except for licensed RV camper parks, because there is a licensed,
Yes,
state
I'm
licensed
sorry I
place on
missed
St.
that.
George
Yeah.
Island.
Thank you. I meant to put that in there. I missed that. 'cause
Well, and does
it's
that have
not
any-
certified.
Does that have anything to do with the state park and stuff like that? Because the state park
Yes.
allows.
Well, the way he was writing it up, it would have.
It would have.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you,
what I'm saying.
Mr. Chairman, for catching that. I meant to put that in the language, and
Yeah, and that's just a clarification for the attorney, based on the motions we're talking about.
yeah.
Mr.
I don't need to
Chairman,
amend my motion.
No,
because
I don't think
okay.
so.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask Mr. Schuler, what do you think? I mean, we're gonna already do it, but, I mean, I'm just saying, hindsight, we're gonna direct you to do something, you gonna do it, huh?
Within the bounds of the law, Commissioner.
Yes.
Well, Mr. Chairman, as Michael stated, there's a lot more to this than we
Yes.
need to add. These are just the top three
Yes.
to get by, because it's a hurricane season's coming. But I want to, when we do have this ARPC discussion next meeting, I don't recall the workshop, the first one, talking about RVs. I don't recall that.
No.
So maybe we can incorporate them to talk about, because I talked to,
But you could, but here's the thing, Commissioner, a lot of what they're doing, our biggest issue with all of our stuff that they're trying to update is how outdated it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
They're not, I don't think they have, but if they have, they haven't presented us yet. They've not tried to tell us what
The change.
changes we need to make to our comp plan or to our land use plan. They're just trying to make sure we don't have wording in our comprehensive
Right.
plan that references a state agency.
Just
that
doesn't
existed 30
exist
years
and
ago.
stuff like that,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Now,
they're trying
it
to get
can be
you,
done.
they're trying to get you to zero,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward, and then from there, you can
Yeah.
take it
Yes,
higher to
yes.
what you want, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's something I might bring up to them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I think that
Please
would be
do.
nice to have
So,
them help us out.
we did have a motion and second on this, correct?
Yes.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a 4-0 vote.
All right, Commissioners, item number 10, this is as he gets closer to budget, I'm sorry. Some of the Lanark Village residents have expressed interest to staff regarding a pickleball court. Do you know that pickleball is a ESPN, like, thing now?
It's a
I
big
mean,
thing.
yeah, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
One of the options discussed is a I saw it the other night, don't ask me why I was watching that, fundraising drive by Lanark Village residents. That's one of the options. And then with the county providing the additional funds to have the pickleball court built. As you're aware, pickleball may have started as an activity enjoyed by retirees and seniors, please don't get me in trouble, trying to stay active, but now it's a sport enjoyed by all. Is the board willing to have staff seek an estimate to build a pickleball court in Lanark Village and discuss this matter further at budget workshops? Because you won't know what to discuss or what will be the county's part or how much of a fundraiser you're looking for unless we know how much it costs to build a pickleball court.
Well, and I talked to one of the group that was, one basically spearheading it, you know, out there at Lanark. I would like to see something like this at Lanark, because I can remember the days when they had shuffleboard out there and stuff like that. Now it's gone to pickleboard. But we fund a lot of parks in this county, and I would like to include this. This would be around the Gene Sewell Park that we already have out there. So, I would, let's see how you put it now. I would like to make a motion to have staff,
Seek an estimate?
yeah, seek an estimate, talk to the people involved, you know, because they contacted you, and just see what we can do, and maybe we can add this to the budget for this coming year, or maybe if we have any surplus in Parks and Rec, we can allocate. I don't think we will, but I'm just saying, I'm hoping. I told them,
Surplus of Parks and Recs.
well, I told them don't expect nothing before October.
Yeah.
So that's the way I did it. So I was hoping that y'all would support this, because I'm not gonna do it, cause I fall too easy anymore, but they enjoy it, and just give them some kind of enjoyment that they could have, so, I make a motion to go ahead and go in with this.
All right, so we do have a motion to proceed
I'll second.
with this estimate from Commissioner Sanders, second from Commissioner Amison. Is there any discussion, Commissioners, you'd like to have on this item before we vote?
Actually, I do.
All right.
Is this requested by the residents?
Yeah. And they're already, it's a group of residents, well, in fact, it's the golf club people out there at Lanark.
Mhm.
And,
Talking about
they've
the
all,
old little golf club thing?
the Lanark Golf
Mhm.
Yeah,
Club.
yeah.
And they already taken up, trying to take up, collections
There we go.
on it, donations on it, so.
Well, my last thing is they might want to Google injury rates with pickleball, because my wife is wanting to get into it, and I'm fighting it tooth and nail, but. I mean,
Well, they would probably give Courtney a year's free, membership to it or something. But I'm telling you,
All right.
is she wanting to get into pickleball?
Don't get me started. She wants to get into everything.
So any more discussion before we vote? We haven't voted yet, have we?
No, sir.
I think we have. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous.
Contact Nola and let her know.
I sure will.
Thank you.
TDC collections, that's attached. Oh, no, I didn't attach it, did I? Oh, Jesus, Marone. Okay, I'll attach it here in a few minutes, after we get to the meeting, well, in a few minutes. And, John said he did it in a different format, so it's easier to compare, year-to-dates in different years, so it, you know, the data isn't as, it's just easier. Let me just say that, leave it at that. Item 12, the ad went out for TDC, the vacant TDC seats. It's scheduled to run in the May 2nd, which was Thursday past, and Attorney Schulaf, I want to show you something. They moved it, anyway. I don't like where they placed the ad in May 2nd, and I might run it one more week before the 21st, but ads are due, the applications are due Friday, May 24th, and we will open them at your June 4th regular meeting, okay? And then from there, we can decide how we're gonna handle
That
that.
should give plenty
Did
of
you,
time.
do you have any applicants right now that have already submitted?
Actually, I have two.
Really?
I have
Wow.
two. They didn't drop it off to the clerk's office like I asked them to, but they sent, one sent an email, the other one sent an email, said that they snail mailed it, the post office mailed to the
So it's only
clerk's
been like
office.
5
Mailing.
days and we got 2 applicants.
Yeah, well, actually, I've been running it on the
might get lost.
website from week before last.
Okay.
I didn't say that there, but I have, so yeah, it's spreading, I mean, you know, I'm just glad if everybody's responding, say that.
Absolutely. Because I like the way you put the, up there, you had the two choices.
Yeah.
Somebody that owns a hotel or something, or somebody that's involved in, like Ricky was saying,
Yeah.
somebody's involved with tourism stuff, yeah.
13, 14, or 15 we dealt with, and your next meeting is Tuesday, May 21st. Got that right, at 9 o'clock in the morning. You have a few public hearings at the next meeting that start at 11, and the 1:30 workshop that you just approved a few minutes ago. And
I want to ask you something, Mr. Morone, before we proceed to turn this over. And it will truly rely on the resident whether they want to do it or not. And I've thought about this a lot since our last meeting. Currently with the Regional Planning Council, we get to have a county person there and a city person there. There's also a slot there for a gubernatorial appointee that Franklin County has not had since I've been on this board. Could you please reach out to Mayor La Paz and see if she's interested in serving and putting her name in the hat for that gubernatorial appointment for Franklin County?
Okay.
If she's not, that's fine, but she's served on the ARPC before. Very, very valuable, very knowledgeable. And if she's still wanting to volunteer any time, I think she would be a good fit for Franklin County on that board.
I agree with you on
I'll
that.
let you know, then we contact that office in the governor's office that
Yes.
for
Yeah.
appointees.
Appointments
Okay.
office, yes, sir.
Yeah, appointments
Yeah.
office, thank you. Jeez.
Mr. Chairman,
You know,
I got-
if she's willing to. If she's not, that's fine, but I've just been thinking about her, and I think that would be, I know it would be a benefit to the county if she was willing to give of her time.
Mr. Chairman, I got one thing with Michael. Day after tomorrow, I'm going for my second knee replacement.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how I'm gonna be doing. So that long meeting may get me. So I'm just telling y'all just work with me a little bit like y'all did before. And I'm gonna come out all right, and I'm gonna be walking on all
All new knees.
So in
I'm
other
gonna
words,
be
other words,
We ain't gonna be able to keep up.
other words, you're gonna pull one of them old Commissioner Lockley disappearing
Just leave.
acts?
No, but I got something to tell y'all. Now, I'm gonna tell you, when we started talking about now y'all, just give me a minute, Mr. Chairman. When y'all started talking, and when we all started talking about the opportunity zone at 65, I heard him in my ear over here say, Cheryl, don't forget to tell him we need to have 65 4-lane. That's what he wanted.
That's-
So
yes.
if we ever get a spur coming down here from anywhere, we need to name it the Noah L. Lockley Jr. Spur. You know?
You heard that, Commissioner Crowe? That's
I
a great
do.
job.
We do, because he had always, for 20-something years, well, for 20 years, almost 20 years, that's what he was, why can't we have something coming down 65? You know, and you know that, Michael, you know that.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean.
it makes sense, it's the escape route. I mean,
Exactly,
Exactly.
exactly. So if anything ever happens, and we can do it, we need to do it, because I know he kept in my ear, I said, I remember you saying that, but.
we just don't need to do it between here and St. Joe so we can maintain that critical access.
That's secondary road. Mr. Chairman, I've got something from
Go
Michael.
ahead.
But it made me just think about him.
That's funny. It's a good story.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if some people are aware, but Vrooman Park concession stand got broken into. And I meant to bring this up when Mr. Day was here, but it slipped my mind talking about all the other stuff. So, apparently, we don't know if the power breaker got tripped or somebody intentionally turned it, but the popsicles and the hot dogs and a lot of the stuff that needed to be refrigerated spoiled. So that's money out of these baseball teams,
Yep.
softball teams, mom and dad's pockets. It frustrates me. It looked like somebody ate a bag of chips. It could have been a wild animal. I don't know. All I know is it looked like somebody literally, we have bears, so it's questionable whether or not it was a human or an animal encounter. I have my own suspicions, but that being said, I know we talk about Vector. I don't know how, I want to say we asked for cameras at Vrooman before, but is there a way, and I don't know if any other parks had this issue, how much it would cost or what would take to maybe put an alarm up so when a door gets breached or something, or power goes out, we know?
Yes.
So that we don't have food spoiling, these
Yes. So my
Money's
answer is
being
going to be
wasted?
yes to you now, and I'd like to discuss with you outside of
Okay,
the public
all right.
meeting, how good that system actually is.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
Yes, sure enough.
Commissioner Ward, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, was the breaker tripped or was it turned off?
We don't, it's up for speculation. We don't know.
Okay.
I'm gonna say this, it looked like it had been turned, cause usually when a breaker flips, it stops halfway
It
before it
doesn't.
actually
Yeah,
goes.
that's a little
That's
red
right.
But
thing.
it was not halfway, it was all the way in the
Well, then
opposite
somebody
direction.
turned it
Somebody
off.
turned
it off.
That's what I was
Somebody
So,
asking.
but, you know, we don't wanna speculate, we don't wanna assume, cause you know what they say about that.
Well,
I'm just saying that we need to know something about, you know, I have a feeling a bear didn't go in there and eat one bag of chips, cause there's bubble gum sprayed across the floor too, and I'm like, I don't know. I got pictures I can show you.
It could have been a human dressed as a bear. For all
It
you know,
could have
but
been,
yeah,
it could have
but
been,
Yeah, okay,
but
yes,
anyway.
I'll let you know, and then we meet tomorrow morning, and don't forget about that.
Yes.
Then we could discuss it, because
9.
Fonda will be there too, yes.
Okay.
9 over in East Point.
Gotcha.
Yes.
All right, anything else from Mr. Morone?
Could have been a raccoon,
Okay.
could have been a human.
And Mr. Chairman, I got Commissioner Sanders' message loud and clear about the length of the 21st agenda. Loud and clear.
21st,
Yes,
21st.
All
And,
right,
loud and clear, Attorney Schuler, I got it.
and thank you for bringing up the RV stuff.
Yes.
I think that's gonna be very important.
yes. Attorney Schuler, I think it's now your time, sir.
Oh, I don't have a report. Commodore Hale told me I don't have a report.
Well, we amended our agenda to add something, so start talking.
Yes, sir.
I like Commodore.
All right. The first action item is the modification to the agenda for the armory donation being proposed by the city of Apalachicola. For reasons that I frankly don't even recall, apparently I had my title company do a search back in 2019, not specifically for this donation, but did the county own or not own any of the property at the armory location? So according to this, there is basically 2.5 lots that are owned by the city of Apalachicola based on the 1948 deed. After consideration, I did not want to prepare a deed and send it to the city of Apalachicola to then approve and sign without getting the board's prior approval to accept the donation. So the ask today is, will the board accept the donation of property from the city of Apalachicola, which is essentially, looks to me like the open fenced-in area behind the armory building. So just board action to accept or reject the proposed property donation.
I move that we accept it and thank them for it.
I second the motion.
All right, so we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Sanders and seconded by Commissioner Amison. Is there any discussion, Commissioners? I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
With this, is all the property on the armory gonna be county property now, or is there still gonna be some Apalachicola property there?
The trustees of the Internal Improvement Trust Fund, which just rolls off the tongue, and
Oh,
we'll just
yeah.
call it TIF. TIF actually owns the footprint of the building, which we hold under a long-term lease.
Right,
So we would lease the footprint of the building itself, and then we would actually have ownership of the land outside of the building.
right, but there's gonna be, it's all gonna be either be county or TIF after this?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, that's good, because we could use a parking lot there.
That's,
Okay,
that's all the property between the phone
yes.
place.
I'm no surveyor, but I was looking at the city of Apalachicola map and reading the legal descriptions, and that appears to be the case to me, Commissioner. It also appears to me that there's a half lot overlap between TIF and the city.
Yep,
Because they split, it looks like half of lot number 2 in block 9. Anyway, that looks like there's an overlap, and we can deal with that. I mean, I don't know that we'll resolve it, but at least we're aware of it, and we'll get ownership of the property outside of the footprint of the building. And then, you know, hopefully maybe one day they'll declare the armory as surplus and transfer ownership.
that would be
to us.
fantabulous. All right, any more discussion before we vote? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous.
Okay, and is Courtney on the line? Courtney and Steve?
She's gone for the day, it's 4:30, it's quitting
Yeah.
time.
No, I think you lost them probably about an hour ago.
Okay, well, these next two action items involve your planning department and your building official. I would frankly request board permission to defer these two items and have at least Steve here to discuss them, particularly as to item number 2. He and I have discussed item number 1 concerning whether to remove the exemption for docks as an accessory structure. And I mean, not that he's really come down one way or the other, but he and I have had that discussion, and I've had that discussion with him because this board has repeatedly discussed problems with docks being built on vacant lots, and people that say they're going to pull a building permit, or maybe they pull the permit and they never build anything other than the dock, and the house never gets built. So under your current zoning code, under section 220.02, these docks are not treated as accessory structures, which means they could be built without a principal structure. But if you remove that exemption and make them an accessory structure, then they don't get a dock until they build the house. And then there's the whole issue that sometimes, apparently, the building policy that's been around, longstanding policy for decades, the way I understand it, is even though there's this code requirement that the accessory structure cannot be constructed until after the principal structure is built, they are issuing simultaneously the principal permit and the accessory permit. In fact, there's an issue over in Commissioner Jones's district that he and I chatted about because it's become somewhat of I hate to say controversy, but I guess that's as good a word as any.
It's becoming a big problem out there in District 2.
So,
Big problem.
I'm just a little background information on that, and then there's the other action item that I really would like Steve to be here for, but just so you have some general information, there's been a building permit request for a boardwalk over in Commissioner Jones's district. Staff brought it to my attention because when they reviewed the application, it looked like the building or the boardwalk was going to be built on a third party's property. So they got me involved, and I talked to the surveyors like, well, how are you getting on? How's your guy getting on somebody else's property? They sent me a copy of a deed that has a private easement, which is basically a private beach access easement, and that was given to me as the authority for the right to put a boardwalk on this third person's property. But when I read the private easement, there's a private restriction that essentially says there won't be any fixtures or basically permanent construction within that easement. So, county staff and myself are somewhat at a need of decision and direction from the board, because historically the board's policy is you don't get involved in enforcing private restrictions. I mean, that's not a governmental issue. This one's different because we're now being asked to issue a building permit based on a private easement that clearly has a restriction that says you can't build what you're wanting to build based on a permit you want from the county. So I think at some point the county's gonna have to weigh in and give
The
an
problem
answer.
that I see with that, Attorney Schuler, is the way that their deed is written up. I don't think the county has the authority to give them a building permit on somebody else's property.
That's what, when I say private
Yeah.
restriction, that's what I'm referring to. The easement deed that's been presented as the basis for the entitlement to go on the third person's property and build the boardwalk clearly has a private restriction that says you can't do what you're asking the county to give you a building permit to do. I mean, we're saying the same thing. We're saying the same thing.
Yes,
But
sir.
I would like to defer both of those items until we can have Steve here, if that's okay.
So do we need
with
to
the board.
table those, or?
Just table 1 and 2
1 and
on my
2?
report, and I will bring it up at the next
I'll
meeting.
make a motion that we table 1 and 2 on Attorney Schuler's report and bring it back up at the next meeting on the 21st of May.
Second.
So we have a motion to table by Commissioner Sanders, a second by Commissioner Amison and Commissioner Croom. Any discussion, additional commissioners? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That is unanimous, 5-0.
And the other 2 items would be 3 and 4, just to bring to your attention, that I have scheduled 2 public hearings at your next board meeting. One will be on the ordinance for the regulating conduct in public facilities, and then the second ordinance hearing would be on the business ordinance license. I've attached draft ordinances. One thing that I want to bring to your attention on the business license ordinance is the board will need to make a decision about when you want that ordinance to become effective and require people to get their permits. Typically, your ordinances go into effect once you approve it and it's signed. I take it to the clerk's office. The clerk's office then uploads it electronically. Once we do that within a 10-day period. Once that's done, that ordinance becomes effective. But the question is, when do you want people to start having to pull licenses? I mean, there needs to be, some, I think, education of the public that says, that, you now have this new requirement,
Grace
maybe
period.
coincide with the calendar year,
Yeah.
coincide it with, the fiscal year, but I think most people are probably more accustomed to,
Calendar.
a calendar year.
Yeah, I would think calendar year would be best.
Yes.
Okay,
And
But this is something for y'all to be thinking
it
about.
would give us a good chance to run a lot of ads,
Yes.
to get people familiar and ready for it too.
Okay.
And then I typically don't go over my information items, so unless the board has any questions for me about information items, that concludes my report.
Commissioners, you have any questions for Attorney Schuler?
I don't have any questions, just couple quick things. Attorney Schuler, I've been asked by some people in my district about speed bumps or speed humps in neighborhoods. I talked to Mark Currington, I just want you to state for the record as to why we don't allow it, because it was brought to my attention that they have them in St. James, but
That's part
that's
of the PUD.
different, that's a PUD, that's a plan unit development that authorized those beforehand, but could you just say why we don't allow, the county don't allow putting speed bumps?
It's a liability issue. I mean, people, go over those things at speed, over the speed limit. They end up damaging their vehicles and busting their tires and alignment issues. It's just a liability issue for the county.
And then they want to sue the county because of the damage.
Of course.
One more thing real quick. There's the city of Carabel just updated their ordinance on Ryan Drive pertaining to trucks. I know we had talked about that in the past. I know we have a county ordinance. I know there was a question whether Ryan Drive is city or county. I don't think that matters. I would like for you to, I emailed you their updated ordinance. If you could look that over, I would like to try to mirror our county ordinance to that so that we all can be on the same page, because I was told that the way it is now, if somebody gets stopped driving a truck on that road and gets issued a citation, that it's not enforceable in a court of law because of the two different, they're gonna say, well, is it a city road or a county road? The city ordinance says this, county ordinance says this. There's too many variables, and I wanna make sure that we're clear and concise when a ticket's written, that that ordinance is enforceable. And then signage, once we get all that, we'll make sure that the signage is appropriate on both areas, because I think they divert 67. We just need to get signage that says, not a truck route, whatever the case.
Yeah, Lake Morality is a truck
Yeah.
route. And we did this many years ago when Mr. Putnam was in there many years ago, because the trucks was flying by it. Back then, we had a beautiful timber industry, that was, them trucks was going back. That's the reason why
And Ryan
we
Drive's not
didn't
built
even have
for
that
trucks. It's not built for those big trucks to go through there like that, so. Because we just redid that culvert. I don't want that to be compromised either, so. If you could just,
Typically don't take action during commissioner comments, but you're telling me to schedule a public hearing, so.
we're still under your report, aren't we?
We haven't moved to Commissioner
Oh, we haven't
comments
moved to
yet.
commissioner
I haven't
comments?
said
Okay, I
that.
thought we were. Perfect. Then we need a motion to authorize me to schedule a public hearing.
I'll make a motion to schedule a public hearing to revise the truck ordinance on Ryan Drive in Carabel.
We do have a motion by Commissioner Ward,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Henderson and Commissioner Sanders. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That's 5-0.
Thank you.
Unanimous. You're welcome, thank you. Anything else for Attorney Schuler? All right, now we will move to
Just
Commissioner comments.
one quick thing,
Whoa.
the helicopter hangar, earlier me and Attorney Schuler, we had a smile together.
the
As
first
y'all
I've heard of
seen,
it.
the letter came back,
Yes,
and so, but they have vacated. I think it was just more word of mouth that,
You better get
Well, I
out of
sent
there.
it to them.
Word of mouth made it
by
faster than
regular
the
mail
letter.
and certified.
well, if you had any dealings with USPS, you would know that, a smoke signal made it there quicker.
that's why Mr. Rowan said, snail mail.
I will say, I heard that Jacksonville, where I guess all of our mail goes, they've had a really hard time with getting delays with mail packages, the whole nine, because they've had, apparently a whole group of them walked out. So they're having a lot of issues with that right now.
I just
So-
wanna go on record and say if my CarQuest check don't make it there on time, that,
I've just got
Now we know why.
I've just got one thing real quick, and then we'll get out of here. During public comments, Ms. Mel Kelly, said something about the Island View signage, that we need to go to the state and ask them to put the sign, sign. They will not allow it. It has to be pretty much a state park to be able to have signage. We ran into that problem when we did the Buck O'Neill
Okay.
and the park out there, because Buck O'Neill was a baseball hero and everything, and back then, Representative Kendrick at that time was a state representative. That's the reason why they put the sign up. But just for a county park, they say, if you want to sign up there, county put it up there.
Yep.
Right. But I just wanted to address it so we can be addressing the public.
About that though, could, by it being a park, could TDC fund it, or is it not allowed on the county right, or the state right away?
Mr. Chairman, if I could
I didn't think-
interject, I think, from what I understand, FDOT has gone and taken down a lot of signs. They're very
Yes, they have.
particular
Well, we
about
have our
what,
Welcome to
because we're the
Franklin County
coastal.
sign that's on state right away.
Yes.
Yeah, but we're what they call it, a coastal scenic byway.
Yes.
They don't want it riddled with multiple signs, like
But you
all
know, we
around
don't have
the.
billboards.
So that's why they don't, matter of fact, we had to take some signs off my personal private property, because they didn't want it to be on 98.
I got you.
Just
I'm
heads
just-
up.
Right
Yeah.
there on that corner.
Yeah. They're very particular about that.
I know we're running late, and this is Commissioner comment section, but I do want to just say one thing, because I've had a rough 3 weeks. I thought I was gonna have that extra week on what's gonna be, but I've been barraged because we're in the growing season. All right. The people of Franklin County is gonna have to pick their poison. We have a problem. We've discussed this numerous times, and I've been pretty much told by a few that that's a bunch of bull and we're making excuses. Our inmates, and I want to just say this in public, we used to average anywhere, and this was preceded me, but we used to average 30 to 35 inmates a day. Where now, we see the reports, it's 4 to 5. I talked with Buster, or Mr. Neighbors. We've got 12 people that are actually, that's not staff, that's not Virginia and the rest of the crew, the ones that are actually on the ground, hands-on. You put those 4 or 5 inmates with them. All right, now they got to cover from Alligator Point all the way to the western part of this county. And if it's a perfect month, they might be able to get it done. But when I say perfect, that means they just got to cut grass. We all know that they get called off of those projects because something comes up, an emergency comes up, they have to deal with it. People have barraged my phone because, like I said, we're in the growing season now, so right-of-ways are kind of not getting as maintained county right as they should be.
I got first there.
If you want a service, and you said this earlier, you're gonna have to pay for that service. Now, either you can be patient and wait till our staff can get there with what we got, or we could relook, we can look at this, we can increase some, departments, but it's gonna cost in the long run. So the community needs to either be patient, let us work with what we got, or we as a commission can look at increasing services, and that's gonna mean increasing taxes or something at the end of the road to pay for it. I don't know any other solution, but I'm tired of hearing it. I mean, like I said, these guys are, and I've got a better appreciation for it now that I'm sitting in this chair, because when I say we run skeleton crews, look at the size of our county, just lengthwise. I mean, no other county's as long as we are. And 15, 16 people that has to, on average, and sometimes that fluctuates down to 2 inmates. The citizens of Franklin County need to take that into consideration sometimes. I'm not saying that I get tired of hearing people calling me and stuff like that. That's not the case. But what does bother me is a lot of these people, if we did increase the taxes or millage rates or whatever we had to adjust to pay for these services, they would be the first ones to call complaining about that. So at the end of the day, you got to pick your poison, what you want. And that's all I got. And it has been a rough 3 weeks.
Yes, but also to go with that, Commissioner, you're only gonna get what you pay for in America. You don't get nothing you don't pay for. It's just a sad fact of life. Any other commissioner comments?
I'm gonna just bring it to y'all's attention. We got a problem with the boat ramp down at Alligator Point. I'm gonna come with a plan, and maybe we can do something to solve it. So that's my last thing.
Actually, we have another problem with another boat ramp. Mr. Ron, I'm gonna get with you tomorrow. I've had several residents express to me just in the last 2 weeks. It's good that the state has started to make some amenities in the state forest, in the Tatesville State Forest. But in doing so, they're starting to lock the public out from it. Cash Creek, which all of us went to growing up around East Point area, Appalachia area. Now, unless you have a pre-authorized thing, you can't even drive down to the creek. They've got it set aside for camping areas they put down there. There's a gate. The only way you're gonna get through is to pay.
We need to send them a letter.
And they've done a similar thing, oh, it fails me right now, and I know where it's at. But there's another area up there that I talked to somebody about yesterday, twice, 2 different family members. I'm blank. No,
There's tons of them
But
up
there's, it's a boat ramp area,
Yeah.
and it's got it labeled on the website as a kayak and boat launch. But they went and put the state did it, I guess, put 2 huge boulders, so you can't launch a regular boat, you can only launch a kayak.
Yeah, Commissioner Sanders, rather than write a letter.
That's taking away public access.
I would rather we reach out to the staff of Representative Schoaf and Senator Simon and say, we
Yes.
need to talk to somebody, just
Yeah,
tell us.
because that's
who
taking
we're
away
talking
state
to.
access.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or public
Let's-
access.
Mr. Chairman, we'll work on that together. Let's,
Okay.
Jesus.
I didn't remember earlier, and I
I'm
forgot.
glad you brought that up, because
I didn't know
that's
that.
what we spent all that that's what they spent all that money over there at Gardner's Landing for.
And they won't fix up, Fort Gadsden. I've already called and asked them about all that. They're
Yeah.
nitpicking and choosing what they want, what parts they want to
That's
fix
right.
up and what they don't.
That's right.
And I can
Good
give you,
call.
I might can give you some contacts too, because I was trying to call, because you got FDAX and you have, which is the state, then you got national. And I've got a list of what's national, what's state, so
Yes.
that we need to figure
Well,
out
that'll
what,
help.
what park I've got all the information that, it might be in here.
Where I'm
Anyway,
talking about
just let me
state,
know.
because it's in Tatesville.
Yeah.
Wrights
you
Lake-
sure? Because-
Yes, Wrights Lake is federal
Right.
because it's in the Apalachicola
Okay.
National
Because
Forest.
there were some that I thought were state, and I found out they were national.
And when I sat on the RAC committee for the National Forest, and this was right before I retired, we took care of Wrights Lake when I when I was in there. They don't take care of it.
No, not at all.
They
Unless
don't-
you go and point it out
Take
to them.
nothing.
Not at all.
And
But
I've been
anyway,
after
I meant to mention that earlier and I forgot.
Okay.
I'm glad we did that.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, good luck on your surgery. We're praying for you, and I hope your brother is okay.
We will find out shortly, I'm sure he is. He's a cat with 9 lives, I promise you.
Yeah.
Meeting adjourned.